Welcome in, Warchant.com, and of course, these videos documenting the top 40 players of the offseason. We got a whole lot of boys. I don't really know, like me saying to them, hey, boys, I don't know what we do with this list. 31 through 35 is kind of big on this, where we're kind of, I don't know, I'll get to it in a minute. That's Tom Lang. That's Matt Lasser. I'm Jeff Cameron. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, pass around, do all the things. We start at 35, and here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. It's a defensive lineman in DAndre Diggs. What are we going to get at DAndre Diggs? If you want to know, for those that are wondering, I had him at 31. Tom had him at 29. Matt, you didn't have him ranked at all. Comes over from Coastal Carolina. He was productive there in the 7 games that he started for them. This defense, you do wonder about how guys are going to be utilized and which of the guys are going to be starting. This list is tenuous. We all admit it, but let's start with DAndre Diggs. I'll begin with you, Tom. Thoughts on what we get from Diggs this year?
Well, a big reason for where I had him on the list was what we did and talked about in the last video, Jason Jenkins, and his potential availability. Are we sure? When? If? That type of thing. So I think that you slot up everybody that's behind him, and Diggs falls into line there. Yes, this is somebody who's a mystery as a player, coming up a level to the power level to play. Love the size, love the profile. Not entirely sure how many defensive linemen Tony White's going to use game to game, week to week in his rotation. So I'm just hedging on the fact that if Florida State went into the portal to go grab some help on the defensive line, which they did in several places, obviously, James Williams is a player that we're going to talk about way down the line on this list. McCoy, DAndre Diggs. He's going to be in the rotation. It's basically almost like guessing through omission rather than seeing the moment or seeing the clips of game footage that tell you that he's going to be a player. He's brought in here for a reason. They need the help on the defensive line. I wish there was something more to it than that, but this is just me playing a guessing game here, and because of the Jenkins injury that I bumped him up almost inside the top 30.
Matt, if you projected that Jenkins wasn't going to come back, or wasn't going to come back to, like, say, 8 or week 9, somewhere in that neighborhood, would you have had Diggs on this list?
Maybe. I'm not really sure, to be completely honest. When they took him out of the portal, I wasn't a big fan of the take. So to kind of like go with that, that's probably why I left him off the list, was to keep consistent with what I thought before. But yeah, but Tom's right that like he's probably going to be in the rotation no matter what. It's just like I wasn't a big fan. And, there's kids like Tylon Lee, who was a 5-star, who could come in and maybe be a part of that rotation and pass a guy who wasn't even that productive at Coastal Carolina. Like, let's be honest, I still have to see a lot from him.
This is question marks. This is what we do right now at this part of the top 40. Just a lot of question marks. And we're all of the mindset that we hope these guys excel, clearly. But it is one of those things where you have to project an awful lot. I feel like our next guy at 34, McCoy, is a guy that everybody loved, but whose star is beginning to wane. And that seems maybe a bit unfair. Injuries have been a part of his time here at Florida State. But, man, right off the bat, as a true freshman, you really thought, oh, what? This guy's got a little something. Nobody did anything last year in the offense for Florida State. So it's hard to project much of anything. You got a new offense this year. And the other problem for McCoy is that Deuce Robinson, Squirrel White, and Javon Boggs are all here, and all guys that we expect a lot out of. So McCoy, starting with you, Matt Lasser, does he get back into the good graces and project nicely again for Florida State at the receiver position this year?
Yeah, as you just said, the problem to me is not Squirrel White, it's not Deuce Robinson, it's Javon Boggs, the kid who's come in as a freshman and done well. And that was the spot that McCoy was really looking to grab, right? With it open, a lot of question marks there. Just you had your top 2, the third guy needed to step up. So far, it's been Javon Boggs and not McCoy. So again, it could all change in fall camp, and he could excel. From what I've heard out of summer workouts, that's not the case. It's still Javon Boggs. So it looks like he's still going to have to be a rotational piece. And now in this offense with Gus Malzahn wanting to chuck it deep, those speedy guys like McCoy will have their shot. They will be able to, like, if he could take the top off a few plays this year, then you're right in that conversation, even though you're not starting, you're that guy right after Javon Boggs, right? So he's got to keep that spot, and if not, overtake Javon to be able to move up and do better.
Matt, you had him highest on our list at 29. I had him 34. Tom, you had him at 35. Thoughts on McCoy?
Yeah, this is another one like the defensive back room, specifically at the corner position. When they went and got, Jeremiah Wilson from Houston, Tony White clearly didn't see enough that he liked. And he said, we need help at defensive back. When Florida State took Gavin Blackwell from North Carolina, when they didn't have to do that, that to me sent a signal as well that they felt like something was missing. And this is after good buzz for Javon Boggs. This is after they know what they have in Squirrel White and Deuce Robinson, that you still go grab another receiver. Also, Gus's offense isn't one that rotates a bunch of guys like Mike's offense did last year. Matt brought this up when we were speaking on Mekhi Danzy in the previous video, that he might have specialists for certain routes, but he doesn't like to distribute the ball 5 and 6 down the line at running back or receiver. Even though Florida State has a lot of bodies at both positions, it just feels like there's a lot for LaWayne McCoy to overcome. But I do know, based upon what I've seen from the practices that we were able to see in his freshman season, the conversations that I had with y'all when you were living down here and I was up north and you saw more practices day to day, McCoy's got a shot. It's just that there are more hurdles in front of him now on the depth chart.
I'm going to stay with you, Tom. Justin Crier is a guy you had ranked highest of the group here by quite a bit. I like Justin Crier. I've interviewed Justin Crier. He comes in at 33 here. I think you had him at 21 last I checked the list. I have him ranked. Matt has him ranked not nearly where you have him ranked. Clearly, you think he's going to win either a starting job or first in the rotation at linebacker.
I do. This is one of my big risks in the top 40. I'm going with a guy who's cerebral and who seems to match, at least in the way he expresses himself publicly and he speaks about the game. It seems like he and Tony White are a natural fit. And I think that when you bring in a new coordinator, that's as important as anything. Do you see the game the same way? Because this is a period of transition, and Florida State did bring in transfers at the linebacker position, one of which was unavailable, and Lavallee out of North Carolina in spring. Stephon Thompson knows the system, but he's a little bit more bulky. And Elijah Herring's coverage grades, if you look and you believe in PFF, you don't have to, but the coverage grades across Elijah Herring's career aren't so hot. So you're missing something. You're missing a little piece. This all comes down to how healthy is Juice. Is he ready to go and at full agility and speed? But I think that he is definitely smart enough to comprehend a multiple defense. He's at a position that's a centerpiece of what Tony White wants to put out there in his front. It's a part that Tony White will work with hand in hand. I know that they have John Papuchis to be the position coach, and Ernie Sims helps there too. Tony White's going to be very involved with the linebackers. I'm going on a hunch that this is a fit here between the two guys in the way they think the game and see the game.
Matt, you had him at 35. Here's the argument I'd make for him. I would make the argument that he is physical, very physical. He's chippy. He's physical. He's tough. He's been that since he came over. I like that aspect in how it relates, as Tom just said, to what we've heard Tony White talk about, the need to be much more physical, the need to be tougher, the need to hit people. I do wonder about his overall athleticism. I don't know that he can be, certainly I wonder if he could be a full-time starter. How do you see him?
Yeah, right now I do not see him as a full-time starter. He will definitely compete for that third spot, right? You got Elijah Herring, then probably Omar Graham, and then that third spot's kind of up for grabs. You don't really know. So he could definitely take that. And I like Juice a lot. He's my Texas guy on the team for everything because he's from the Houston area. But you just kind of, he needs to step up in a sense of, I mean, we know he's a leader and he's shown that, right? He's very vocal. I would argue that right now when we sit there and people walk into practice, because we still do that since it's public property until they do the new practice facility, he is probably the most vocal since like Jared Verse walking up to practice. Like people love him. He's a good personality. It's just taking that to the field, and he is physical. He's probably the guy on the team you look at and you're like, yeah, that dude's a linebacker. Like it's just great kid. Like we always talk about him like that. But yeah, he just needs to step up from an on-field perspective and take that third spot.
I'm biased for our next guy, Andre Otto, who I enjoy as a person, fun to talk to. We did an interview. You guys can go back and find that with Otto. He's got real competition, though, if he's going to break out on this list. He's 32 here. I had him at 32. Tom had him at 30. Matt, you had him at 26. We think similarly of Andre Otto, and that is because we think he's going to compete for a starting job. We don't know if he can win it. I mean, you got to deal with Medley, you got to deal with Leonard, but we do think that he's built the right way, and he's smart, and he's a hard worker. So he's certainly, we think, in the rotation if he's not part of the starting five. I'll stay with you, Matt. Thoughts on Otto?
Yeah, I mean, I think one injury on the offensive line and he's there. Like that's what I expect of him. That's why I ranked him here. I mean, also we should hire him to make videos and help Tom out. He's really good at that. But in general, yeah, I mean, Andre Otto has been awesome since he got here. He's been one of the guys we've expected to develop into a big role. Probably one of the better guys that Alex Atkins ever recruited, or we're surprised a 3-star that turned into his diamond in the rough. But yeah, I mean, how often is there injuries on the offensive line on every football team? Probably about 75 to 80% of the time throughout the year. And he's that guy that I look at to step in right away and kind of take out a role, especially because he's so versatile. You can probably put him at any spot and he'll be able to do it fine and be able to work in correctly.
Tom? Yeah, I really should have found a way to get him higher on the list. I just couldn't find a way to do it since he's not a starter. But yes, it's the versatility that makes him a definite top 40 player, because I think he's your third tackle. I think they've already played him out at right tackle for different parts of his career. They love what I think interior is his bread and butter. But if there's an injury rash of injuries, the way that Florida State is very accustomed to in the offensive line, Matt's talking about most teams, but Florida State knows it better than most. If you've got a hobble tackle and one who's out in a given week, I think Andre Otto slides in there. And then he probably is your backup guard, your top guard. So because of the Swiss Army knife nature of what he does, he has to be top 48. I probably should have gotten him into the top 30.
KJ Kirkland rounds out purposes of the list today here as we stop at 31. And this is a guy that Florida State fans know very, very well. He started 9 games. He played in 12 games. But a lot of people think he's going to be hard-pressed to hold down his job at safety, given the fact that Little and Hussey and others are competing for that. So will he be the guy opposite of Shaheem Brown? I like KJ Kirkland. I'm rooting for KJ Kirkland. I had him at 25. Tom, you had him at 37. And Matt, you had him at 28. Tom, I'll start with you at 37. You don't think Kirkland's going to be that other safety?
Oh, this position is just a tough one. If they can answer, if you could tell me right now that they're going to get above average or even average safety play, like I exhale in such a big way. It's because there are so many moments last year watching KJ Kirkland caught in between. And that's either about, coaching and development or confidence. And they're separate issues. Sometimes they're related, but like it could be on KJ's part. It could have been on the previous staff's part. But you just saw him caught in between. Think Kevin Noles when he returned after the injury, later in his Florida State career versus the freshman who got downhill and made plays. It's in there for KJ. He's just got to unleash it. That athleticism, that profile, he almost is large enough to play linebacker or a hybrid linebacker in this system for Tony White. I doubt that light bulb clicking on moment is coming. I hope it does, because if it does, I know that Aslan has him in the top 20. I'm going to look silly and he's going to look smart if that's the case. But I haven't seen it, so I need to see it to believe it.
The way it would happen, Matt, is if he did play a hybrid role, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. But I see Earl Little more in that hybrid role as the Rovers. So I think he's going to vie more for that safety position. You're probably looking at going against Jeremiah Wilson, Shaheem Brown. I mean, he already kind of took Shaheem Brown's spot once when he was suspended this past year. And that's when he won the starting job and he never got it back, or he never let it go. So it's kind of one of those things is, will he let his position go or not? Probably is the answer. He'll probably be that guy who rotates in a lot, but I don't think we'll start. I would look at Jeremiah Wilson and Shaheem Brown to be the 2 starters back there, but it doesn't mean KJ Kirkland's not going to play and couldn't be starter by the end of the year. I just think it's probably unlikely that he is.
Matt Lasser, Tom Lang, I'm Jeff Cameron. Stick around. More videos, more of the countdown coming your way here at warchant.com and Warchant TV.